Let's start with the Deebo Samuel part of this, because I think that's kind of the big storyline going into the game. Did you feel like they were force feeding him early to placate him for some reason? Or was it just trying to get him going because he's been asked this year?
I genuinely believe that they tried to get him going because they thought it would give them the best chance to win the game. Like I know that probably sounds like I don't think Kyle Shanahan was like, yeah, Deebo talked to me and he sent out the tweet and we really got to give him the ball to make him feel better. Like, no, they had to win this game. And Deebo Samuel's had a bunch of success against the Rams in the past. Mm-hmm. And you're missing Brandon Ayuk and like getting Deebo Samuel going makes sense to me. But he's just not that dude anymore. Or at least this year, he's no longer that guy. Mm-hmm. And I think for Kyle Shanahan to try to prioritize getting Deebo Samuel the ball is grasping at straws, frankly. And I think the result of the game is sort of the reason why. Like, I think Deebo showed a complete lack of self-awareness. After a huge, we didn't talk about this part. The Niners had probably their best offensive game of the season, and Deebo Samuel sends out that tweet early this week.
Insane.
Like they had their cleanest offensive game of the year against the Bears. Mm-hmm. And then Deebo Samuel sends out the tweet like he's not getting the ball enough. And then the optics are the 49ers are trying to get Deebo going, and then it's not working. Mm-hmm. He had 3 catches on 7 targets for 16 yards. Drops probably, the 2 biggest plays of the game were his drop and Purdy's interception. And we'll talk about Purdy's interception in a second. And then he also had 2 runs for 3 yards. Like, it's just not there. He's not. I think he still has straight line speed, and I think we saw that in those kickoff returns that have been successful in recent weeks. But he does not break tackles like he used to. He's not difficult for anyone to cover at this point. And, the drops were an issue even in 2021 when he was an all-pro. Mm-hmm. He dropped a lot of passes that year.
Yep.
But he could, he made up for it in other ways. He's not making up for it now.
Boy, did he.
And now the drops are, you had the drop in Green Bay that led to an interception. That was a huge swing in that game. Mm-hmm. Not that the 49ers were going to win that game with a backup quarterback, but it still didn't help, obviously. Mm-hmm. And then to drop this one, and I think Deebo, he said it after the game, if he makes that play, they probably win. And I agree with him. And I thought if he catches it, he's going to score. Like, he had Ricky Pearsall throwing him a block. He had an alleyway. Akello Witherspoon was coming over the middle. As easy as Deebo Samuel's been to tackle recently, I don't think Akello Witherspoon's tackling him with a full head of steam right now. Mm-hmm. So if he catches that ball, it's a touchdown, and then the Niners aren't settling for a field goal. The way the defense was playing, I know Greenlaw went out. They probably do win that game if Deebo scores there. So it's brutal, man. It is an absolutely brutal way for the season essentially to come to an end. Like the 49ers had been eliminated from playoff contention for probably, since the Bills game, I guess. But this one is like the nail in the coffin. And for it to go, you score 6 points, you're trying to get Deebo the ball. It comes after a tweet where he says he's frustrated, coming off of a huge offensive performance Sunday for the team against the Bears. Like, it's all just, to me, like, we've talked about why we don't think Deebo Samuel will be back. I mean, it feels like it's going to be pretty hard for them to look at this and be like, yeah, let's have Deebo on a $16 million cap hit next year.
I can't imagine it.
Yeah.
It just, unless he's super duper hurt, and that's the reason he can't break a tackle. But I don't think that's the case, because if it was, I don't think the 49ers are handing him the ball on 3rd and 6. They were devising carries for him and touches for him because they think, okay, he's just not getting the right looks. They just need to get going. Oh, he almost broke this one. He almost broke that one. Oh, man, if he breaks one of these, the narrative's a lot different. Like, but he's not. He's not breaking them. And if he was hurt, I don't think they would have done that. I don't think they would have made such a concerted effort to get him going. But they did because they've been talking about, oh man, he's this close, he's that close. Oh, if you watch on film, he almost had a couple. Like, no, man, it's just not working anymore. It doesn't. Deebo said it. It's not surprising anyone, and he's not individually brilliant enough to overcome that. And what you're getting is, what is he at, like 34 carries for 96 yards now? Something silly like that. It's not good, man. And when you start talking about turning the page on the 49ers offense and into a new era of 49er football, it has to be an offense that doesn't revolve around Deebo Samuel. That's very, very clear.
Yeah, I think Deebo, when you have Christian McCaffrey and you have Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle, Deebo can be a gadget player, and it makes sense within that ecosystem, right? Because you can do all these different things, and you can create mismatches with all these different guys, and you can sort of optimize the way you create these gadget plays for Deebo, right? Because you can dictate stuff before the snap and matchups and all that stuff. But when you don't have those other guys and you're trying to force the gadget plays, it's just not going to be nearly as effective, while Deebo is clearly not what he was physically.
That's it. Absolutely.
So it's a rough ending to a rough season for Deebo. And, it feels symbolic. It's like, I don't know. To me, and maybe I'm totally off on this, I've heard, friend of the pod, Matt Mayoko, say he would be stunned if Deebo Samuel wasn't back. He thinks all that talk is premature about him not being there next year. I would disagree. I just don't. I think I've said it a few times, but I think this offseason is going to be about making changes and moving on from guys. And to me, I don't know how you bring Deebo back if this is the way the season ends with him, right?
Yeah, because what role does he play? If he's not wide back, awesome Deebo Samuel, what is he?
Right.
He's a receiver that doesn't get open. Cool. Love having that.
Right. And it's pretty clear that, you invested a first round pick in Ricky Pearsall, and you have Juwan Jennings, and you're hopefully getting Brandon Ayuk back. There's just not a whole lot of oxygen for a declined Deebo Samuel, I don't think. So yeah, it's a shame. And hopefully, honestly, it's I would, not that I'm wishing injury on anybody, but I would feel a lot better talking about Deebo Samuel if in a few weeks or after the season, it's Deebo Samuel had surgery to repair whatever hip injury.
Yeah.
And then it's okay, we can kind of point to that. But if it's
right,
that would be a lot more palatable given how good he's been than oh, he's just not nearly as good anymore. He's just done.
That'd be nuts, man.
That would be unfortunate.